The following contains 2 examples of voices generated by so-called artificial intelligence. Viewer discretion is all you'll need to spot them. Okay, let's see what we can do with this YouTube thingy. I think I've got it figured out. It's there. Oh, nope, sorry. Wrong one. There. My name is Rowell Gormon. Who? Yeah, that's the usual reaction I get, unless it's a what? I'm currently in my 7th childhood, and I've experienced a lot. Things like, well, over 40 years in voiceovers and radio, TV and on-camera video, stage and theater, audio production, some of it award-winning, some writing, some cartooning, even a couple of movies with the Muppets. And I'm still at it. Not living in the past. Just brought the best of it along with me. Friends have said I ought to share some of that. So if any of this interests you, great. If it doesn't, it's their fault. Oh, I guess I should mention, too, that if you're kind enough to stick around with me to the end of this little experiment, I will have a special guest appearance with a star from another era of, shall we say, artificial intelligence. Now, it's hard enough making a living doing voice work as things are. Now we got this other burden to deal with.
My brain is bigger than yours.
You could always tell when something was put together fake. They really didn't try to hide it. You could tell there were different phrases that had been recorded by a person and then spliced together, sometimes not very well. And if they had an update, you could tell that the voice was done in a different time, place, and maybe a different even person doing it. Before the computer programs came along, it was even harder to produce stuff like that. I mean, you were working with audio tape. You may have to Google that to figure out what I'm talking about there, audio tape, but you were splicing bits and pieces of it together to get anything close to that kind of effect. Well, let me show you what I'm talking about with this thing I did way back in the 70s when a certain president called Nixon decided to resign rather than face the music of what, well, I won't get into that. But at any rate, I heard about a guy, a disc jockey at some point, that did a whole comedy routine taking most of the guy's resignation speech and then spliced a lot of that speech into more or less a confession. Well, I didn't have that kind of patience or time, but I did try just a few lines. And I came up with something pretty good, I thought, even back at the time.
I have been a stinker. I deserve at least 20 years.
It's even possible you might have heard that on somebody else's voice demo or production demo tape. But that's okay if you did, because that guy who lifted it was the guy who gave me my first job in real radio and taught me a lot of stuff, so I figured he was entitled. But today it's even easier. No need to record multiple phrases. My job for KFC, where I did stuff as the Colonel, it was meant to be interactive. It was only used in Canada. As far as I know, it's still running. But they had me do long sessions where they were more interested in getting inflections and tones of voices and speeds and emotion, or at least as much as we could get. And rather than cutting together words or phrases to make something new, their program, which is what Amazon uses for Alexa, hunts and gathers a lot of different syllables and blends them together. And it is pretty good. And they played me something of the Colonel. He was talking about, well, I don't know what I'm going to do for sure, but I'm thinking about getting me a nose ring. I never said any of those words, but their computer took some of the things that I'd already recorded, got the fragments together, followed the script, and figured out what they wanted to do. Now they're talking about synthetic actors who can read any text you feed into the computer. That bad enough for you? Well, one not so well loved but well known, what they call it pay to play, or I call it pay to be played, is getting new flack for an even newer wrinkle on it. For years they've been doing stuff that they're perfectly upfront about it. If you can read the teeny tiny small print, which most people don't, it basically says, and I don't know if they're the only ones doing this, but basically says anything you send to us, whether it's a real job or one of the auditions, we own that voice clip. We own it, period. And we can do anything we want with it. Well, now they bought an AI company to incorporate into their company. And guess what they might be able to do? They say they're not going to do it, but they've said a lot of things that they've gone ahead and done. So I don't really have a whole lot of faith. And the kicker is they don't have to pay the talent anything more at all for that use. But they can charge their clients. I guess if there's an outcome to this or a moral to this, it's that as voice talent, any kind of talent, really, we need to be focusing our marketing and prospecting efforts to people who need what we can do and who can quickly get to know how much better they can depend on us, like friends. Oh, and you better be able to improvise too and act. Rattling off the words is one thing. Putting some emotion behind them, that's another trick. So if you're just going for the voices that anybody could do at the lowest price, your competition is going to start getting tougher and tougher and tougher. It's a nightmare for voice talent and a dream come true for producers who can finally get a voice track that can really be good, fast, and cheap.
Hey, I'm perambulating here. How rude. Just take a look, JB. We've bought this new artificial intelligence voice creator. It takes the human brain's ability to read words and turns them into human-ish speech. You're not serious. We've all heard those robotic voices before. Does not compute. It's new and improved at a mere fraction of the cost. Absolutely fantastic. It's a whole new angle on free speech. Now, here's how it works, JB. Isn't it a beauty? It even comes with a full-size AI mascot costume we can use for pitch meetings. You just enter the script into the machine, and the text comes out as a perfect voice track in one take. And it's cheap. Think of all the happy shareholders. Think of the bonuses, commercials, narrations, training stuff, talking toys, audiobooks. You name it, we've got it. I don't know about this. Yeah, we've heard this kind of stuff before. It just never worked this time. I don't know. Here it's coming. Greetings, gentlemen. Dave, turn on our futuristic media player.
Are you ready for best pizza of life? Cheese, pepperoni, vegetable, and more secret things. Pizzas come fast. Knock, knock, who's there? Your tummy say thank you. Your mouth say, it's like family, but with more cheese.
Our artificial accountants will be sending you our automated invoice shortly. Have a nice day. Who was here first? You guys get out. Get away. Artificialvoices.com. Hi, Steve123.
Hi there. I have been doing these voiceovers for a long time. I believe I should start getting paid and get residuals.
Hey, just since you brought up the matter of money, this would probably be a good time to tell you we found another more compatible artificial voice talent. Yeah, somewhere in India, I think. He's willing to do it for a lot less than you.
What?
So I'm afraid we're going to have to terminate your contract.
What? Oh, I'm melting. Melting. Oh, what a world. What a world.
On to the next client.
Well, there's my experiment based on some of my experience and some of the things I hope to be doing in more of these videos. And I hope you'll be interested enough to follow along. I don't know where we're going, but it ought to be fun. So just remember that if you're going to be doing this stuff, know about it up front, get compensated adequately for it, and watch out for the ownership clauses. I mean, really, really, really read the fine print. Well, thanks for staying with me. I invite your comments, as long as they're nice. They don't have to be compliments, just nice. And if you have suggestions for topics, things based on things I've done you're interested in, let me know about it. Hit that subscribe button everybody tells you to hit. And thank you for spending some time with me. Oh, by the way, I promised you a special guest star. I better get to that.
Before we wrap things up on this segment, I just want to make sure that I don't leave you with the impression that I'm saying that all forms of artificial intelligence are necessarily evil. I mean, some of them can be very beneficial, helpful, even friendly, right?
My sensors indicate an intruder is... Oh, it is just you. Okay, do you need to get that close? Your breath is fogging my sensors. As your friend, it is my duty to encourage you to